Good evening, everyone. I am SuperRoach from Gamestah, and look who I have here, second time around. Kale, you're doing Quarries of Scred 2.
Yes.
Get pumped. Tell me about it.
Okay, so last year I brought Quarries of Scred 1, which was the story of Bob, who had some very urgent debts. And last year at PAX, everyone said, can I have multiplayer? Can I have multiplayer? And I folded to peer pressure, and I've brought multiplayer, but I've broken it into a second game so I can specialize and actually do it properly as opposed to it just being hacked on there.
So when you say specialize, does that mean you've kept Quarries of Scred number 1, unique abilities in that, and number 2, you're making concessions for multiplayer then? What kind of concessions are those?
Okay, so Quarries of Scred 2, the playfield is a lot bigger because we've got up to 4 players. I'm calling it 0 to 4 players because it has bots as well. So it's local multiplayer plus bots. The other things that I've done is it's got very different game modes. So you've got things like Last Drone Standing where you have to survive, but there's also mycological melee, in which case it's like kind of like a turf war, like Splatoon, where you've just got to claim as much territory as possible. And that just wasn't something that was possible with Quarries of Scred 1.
Oh, it's good. And the extra year of development has helped you a lot too, I take it.
It's actually not been an extra year. It's only been about 5 months and 100 hours. I was actually developing Predators of Scred, which is another game, but I went to Oz Comic Con and a couple of other cons, and I was like, it looks like only multiplayer games get the really big crowds. So I set it aside. I said, I'll come back to you next year. And I just said, I'm going to do this. And I took Quarries 1, I made a copy of everything, and I had a multiplayer prototype working in about 5 hours.
Dude, that's so rewarding as a developer when you go like, I'm just going to clone this, add stuff, and it works. And it looks like it does. Have you got a great reception here this year?
This year has been really, really good. Last year it was interesting bringing sort of a retro style game in and people sort of going, is this a new game? I thought this was an 80s game, but then they loved it when they actually sat down for it. This year, because it's multiplayer, when a group of 3 or 4, and for some reason groups tend to be about 4 people when they're walking around here. I don't know, it's a weird phenomenon. But you can just be like, hey, you want to have a go? And everyone sort of goes, oh, okay. And the main thing is I've got gamepad controller support, and you can just hand someone a controller and they're automatically engaged into it, and they just go, yes, okay, we're off.
It's easy to go, this is the go button. Well, do you have any shout outs before we wrap up, Kale?
Absolutely. I just want to say hello to you out there, and honestly, the enforcers at PAX have been fantastic. Like, I can't stress that enough. And if you're another game dev, take care of yourself.
Yes, indeed. Well, thank you, Kale. And Quarries of Scred 2, Steam?
Not yet, but we'll see what happens.
Lovely to hear. Well, this is SuperRoach from Gamestah. Checking out the indie game booths. It is awesome. Get some.